Hello viewers, welcome to our channel Career Prep. In this video, we'll solve a few problems on the topic compound interest, where you have to find the rate of interest. Since questions based on this topic are most frequently asked in competitive exams, it makes sense to understand the concept well. Questions are dealt with in this video along with clear explanations to make you understand the concept clearly. Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell icon to get notifications as soon as we post a new video. So let's start. At what rate percent per annum will a sum of rupees 1000 amount to rupees 1102.50 in 2 years at compound interest? Here you are given 4 options and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. Now let's solve this problem using the formula method. So here it's given that principal is rupees 1000, amount is rupees 1102.50, time is 2 years and we are asked to find the rate of interest. Now since nothing is mentioned specifically here in the problem, we have to assume that the interest is calculated annually. Now the formula to find the amount when interest is compounded annually is A is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power n. Now substituting all the given values in the formula here, we get 1102.50 is equal to 1000 multiplied by 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power 2. Now when you move the 1000 to the left hand side, we get 1102.50 divided by 1000 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole squared. Removing the decimal point, we get 1,10,250 divided by 1 lakh is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole squared. Now dividing this fraction by 10, we get 11,025 divided by 10,000 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole squared. Now since here on the right hand side we have 1 plus R by 100 the whole squared, it would be easier to calculate R if the numerator and the denominator in the fraction on the left hand side are perfect squares. As you can see here, 10,000 is nothing but 100 squared. 11,025 is nothing but 105 squared. So now we have 105 divided by 100 the whole square is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole square. From this we get 1 plus R by 100 is equal to 105 by 100. When you solve this equation, we get R is equal to 5%. That is, the rate percent per annum is 5%. The correct answer is option B, 5%. Now, other than the formula method, this problem can also be solved using the ratio method. Let's now solve this problem by the shortcut method using the ratio method. Now, before we solve this problem, let's just have a quick recap of the ratio method. Here it's given that time is 2 years and the rate of interest is the same for both the years. Now, in the ratio method, when the rate of interest is the same for both the years, the ratio of principal to amount for both the years will also be the same. Next, in the ratio method, we used to multiply the principals of both the years and also we used to multiply the amounts of both the years to get the ratio of principal to amount after 2 years. Now, since the principal is the same for both the years and they are multiplied, it clearly means that the principal after 2 years is a perfect square. Similarly, since the amount is the same for both the years and they are multiplied, it clearly means that the amount after 2 years is a perfect square. Now this obviously means that the square root of the principal after 2 years will give the principal for 1 year. Also the square root of the amount after 2 years will give the amount for 1 year. Now this is the concept that we will use to find the rate of interest by the shortcut method. Now all these steps is shown here just to make you understand the concept. You don't have to write all these steps. Let's move on to the shortcut method directly. Now here it's given that principal is rupees 1000. Amount is rupees 1102.50. Time is given as 2 years and we are asked to find the rate of interest. Now, since time is given as 2 years, it means that the principal and the amount after 2 years have to be perfect squares. Now, here it's given that after 2 years, principal is to amount is 1000 is to 1102.50. Now, we have to reduce the principal and the amount till we get a perfect square. Now, here after removing the decimal point, we get principal as 1 lakh and amount as 1,10,250. Dividing these two by 25, we get principal is to amount as 4,000 is to 4,410. Dividing these two by 10, we get principal is to amount as 400 is to 441. Now 400 and 441 are perfect squares. So square root of 400 is 20, which means the principal for 1 year is 20. Square root of 441 is 21, which means the amount for 1 year is 21. So for 1 year, principal is rupees 20 and amount is rupees 21. Now, since compound interest is equal to amount minus principal, here compound interest would be 21 minus 20, which is rupees 1. Now we have to find the rate of interest. We know that the rate of interest is always calculated for rupees 100. So if principal is rupees 20, then compound interest is 1 rupee. But if principal is rupees 100, then the rate of interest would be 1 by 20 multiplied by 100, which is 5%. So the rate of interest is 5% per annum. The correct answer is option B, 5%. Just remember here while doing the shortcut method that when time is given as 2 years, the principal and the amount have to be perfect squares. So you have to reduce both the principal and the amount till you get a perfect square. Then the square root of the principal and the amount would give the principal and the amount for 1 year, from which the rate of interest can be easily calculated. Hope you have understood the shortcut method. A sum of rupees 432 is invested at compound interest for 3 years. The compound interest at the end of 3 years is rupees 254. Find the rate percent per annum. Interest is compounded annually. Here you are given 4 options and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. Now let's solve this problem using the formula method. So here it's given that the principal is rupees 432, compound interest is rupees 254. This means amount is principal plus compound interest, that is 432 plus 254, which is rupees 686. Time is given as 3 years and we are asked to find the rate of interest. Now it's given that interest is compounded annually. Now the formula to find the amount when interest is compounded annually is A is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power n. Now substituting all these values in the formula here, we get 686 is equal to 432 multiplied by 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power 3. Now when you move 432 to the left hand side, we get 686 divided by 432 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole cubed. Now on simplifying this fraction, we get 343 divided by 216 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole cubed. Now, since we have 1 plus R by 100 the whole cubed on the right hand side, it would be easier to calculate the rate of interest if this fraction, if the numerator and the denominator in this fraction are perfect cubes. Now, as you can see here, 216 is nothing but 6 cubed, 343 is nothing but 7 cubed. So now we have 7 by 6 the whole cubed is equal to 1 plus R by 100 the whole cubed. From this we get 1 plus R by 100 is equal to 7 by 6. Now on simplifying this equation, we get R is equal to 100 by 6, which is nothing but 16.66%. So the rate percent per annum is 16.66%. The correct answer is option C, 16.66%. Now, other than the formula method, this problem can also be solved using the shortcut method by ratio method. Now let's solve this problem through the shortcut method, which is by using the ratio method. Now before we solve this problem, let's just have a quick recap of the ratio method. Here it's given that time is 3 years and we are asked to find the rate of interest, and it's given that the rate of interest is the same for all the 3 years. Now in the ratio method, when the rate of interest is the same for all the 3 years, then the ratio of principal is to amount will also be the same for all the 3 years. Then in the ratio method, we used to multiply the principals of the 3 years. Also, we used to multiply the amounts of the 3 years to get the ratio of the principal to the amount after 3 years. Now, since the principal is same for all the 3 years and they are multiplied, it clearly means that the principal after 3 years is a perfect cube. Similarly, since the amount is the same for all the 3 years and they are multiplied, it clearly means that the amount after 3 years is a perfect square. This obviously means that the cube root of the principal after 3 years gives the principal for 1 year. Also, the cube root for the amount after 3 years gives the amount for 1 year. This is the concept that we will use to find the rate of interest by the shortcut method using the ratio method. Now all these steps are shown here just to make you understand the concept of the ratio method. You need not write all this. So let's just move on to the shortcut method using the ratio method directly. Now here it's given that the principal is rupees 432. Compound interest is rupees 254. Now since amount is equal to principal plus compound interest, here amount would be 432 plus 254, which is rupees 686. Time is given as 3 years and we are asked to find the rate of interest. Now since time is given as 3 years, it means that the principal and the amount have to be a perfect square, have to be a perfect cube. Now, here it's given that principal is to amount after 3 years is 432 is to 686. Now we have to reduce these two numbers till we get a perfect cube. Now 432 when divided by 2 gives 216. 686 when divided by 2 gives 343. Now as you can see here, both 216 and 343 are perfect cubes. Now the cube root of uh, 216 is 6. The cube root of 343 is 7. This means for 1 year principal is rupees 6 and amount is rupees 7. Since compound interest is equal to amount minus principal, the compound interest here would be 7 minus 6, which is 1 rupee. Now we are asked to find the rate of interest per annum. Now we know that rate of interest is always calculated on for rupees 100. So if the principal is rupees 6, then the compound interest would be 1 rupee. So if the principal is rupees 100, then the rate of interest would be 1 by 6 multiplied by 100, which is nothing but 16.66%. So the rate percent per annum is 16.66%. The correct answer is option C, 16.66%. Hope you have understood this shortcut method to solve problems where you have to find the rate of interest when time is given as 3 years. When time is given as 3 years, you just have to see that the principal and the amount after 3 years is a perfect cube, and then you have to find the cube root of the principal and the amount, and from that the rate of interest can be easily calculated. Hope you have understood this shortcut method. At what rate per annum will rupees 32,000 yield a compound interest of rupees 5,044 in 9 months, the interest being compounded quarterly? Here you are given 4 options and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So first let's solve this problem using the formula method. Here it's given that principal is rupees 32,000, compound interest is rupees 5,044. Since amount is equal to principal plus compound interest, the amount here would be 32,000 plus 5,044, which is rupees 37,044. Time is given as 9 months, and when this is converted to year, we get 9 by 12 year, which is nothing but 3 by 4 year. So time is 3 by 4 year, and we are asked to find the rate of interest. It's also given that the interest is compounded quarterly. Now the formula to find the amount when interest is compounded quarterly is A is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus R by 4 divided by 100 raised to the power 4n. Now substituting all these given values in the formula here, we get 37,044 is equal to 32,000 multiplied by 1 plus R by 400 raised to the power 4 multiplied by 3 by 4. Now on shifting this 32,000 to the left hand side and solving this equation, we get 37,044 divided by 32,000 is equal to 1 plus R by 400 the whole cubed. Now since here on the right hand side we have 1 plus R by 400 the whole cubed, it would be easier to find the rate of interest if the numerator and the denominator in the fraction on the left hand side were a perfect cube. Now on dividing the numerator and the denominator of this fraction by 4, we get 9,261 divided by 8,000 is equal to 1 plus r by 400 raised to the power 3. Now, as you can see here, both 9,261 and 8,000 are perfect cubes. That is, 9,261 is nothing but 21 cubed and 8,000 is nothing but 20 cubed. So now we have 21 cubed divided by 20 cubed is equal to 1 plus r by 400 the whole cubed, which is nothing but 21 by 20 the whole cubed is equal to 1 plus r by 400 the whole cubed. From this we get 1 plus r by 400 is equal to 21 by 20. On simplifying this equation, we get r is equal to 20%. So the rate of interest per annum is 20%. The correct answer is option B, 20%. Now, other than the formula method, this problem can also be solved using the ratio method. Let's now solve this problem through the shortcut method using the ratio method. Here it's given that principal is rupees 32,000, compound interest is rupees 5,044. Now, since amount is equal to principal plus compound interest, the amount here would be 32,000 plus 5,044, which is nothing but rupees 37,044. Time is given as 9 months. Now here it's given that interest is compounded quarterly. So let's convert the time given in months to quarters. Now we know that 3 months is 1 quarters, which means that 9 months is 3 quarters. Now we are asked to find the rate of interest per annum. Now remember that in the shortcut method, if time is given as 2 quarters, then the principal and the amount have to be perfect squares. But here, since time is given as 3 quarters, it means that the principal and the amount have to be perfect cubes. So principal is to amount after 3 quarters is given as 32,000 is to 37,044. Now you have to reduce these two numbers till you get perfect cubes. Now 32,000 divided by 4 gives 8,000. 37,044 divided by 4 is 9,261. As you can see here, both 8,000 and 9,261 are perfect cubes. The cube root of 8,000 is 20 and cube root of 9,261 is 21. This means for 1 quarter, the principal is rupees 20 and the amount is rupees 21. Now we know that compound interest is equal to amount minus principal. So for 1 quarter, the compound interest would be 21 minus 20, which is 1 rupee. Here we are asked to find the rate of interest, and you know that rate of interest is always calculated for rupees 100. So for 1 quarter, if principal is rupees 20, then compound interest is rupees 1. So if principal is rupees 100, then the rate of interest would be 1 by 20 multiplied by 100, which is 5%. Observe here that this 5% is the rate of interest for 1 quarter, but we are asked to find the rate of interest for 1 year. Now we know that 1 year has 4 quarters. So if the rate of interest for 1 quarter is 5%, then the rate of interest for 4 quarters, that is 1 year, would be 5 multiplied by 4, which is nothing but 20%. So the rate of interest for 1 year would be 20%. So the correct answer is option B, 20%. Viewers, please go through this video till you have understood the concept. Practice more such problems to increase your speed and also to understand the concept clearly. Please do watch a video on compound interest for solved problems on finding the time. If you have liked this video, please like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.